relationship between fake news, journalism, and public opinion? Again, the association is, we've seen the death of journalism, particularly of newspapers. Why? Because you can get you can get news online for free. So why should you need to buy the newspaper? And so newspapers have a problem in managing financially, in surviving. And so advertisers also are all moving online, and if you want to get the advertisers' money, you need to show that you attract the clicks, that you get the attention of audiences. So that's why many say this is leading to a lot of clickbait content, which is really bad journalism, gossip, sensationalism, and possibly fake news. And the public, consuming more and more fake news, takes bad decision when it comes, for example, to voting. So the public is liable to manipulation. Again, it seems to make sense, but there is a bit more to say, and I'm going to be very, very quick, otherwise I'll be out of time. But we need to think about, first of all, what is fake news? Everybody's talking about fake news, but I think we don't stop and reflect about what it actually is. Okay, sometimes fake news is deliberately misleading information. So somebody saying that something has happened when perhaps this hasn't happened. This is something false. However, a lot of it is generally another point of view. And you remember I said we are becoming more and more polarized. So sometimes the other's point of view is very, very different from ours. So that's why we think it's fake, but in fact it's just another view, another idea. Is fake news new? Well, if you stop calling it fake news and you call it rumor, we've always had it at times of conflict. And in fact, you'll find tons of books and studies about it. And rumor is in fact an essential component of all conflicts. Why do we have so much rumor? Well, because at times of conflict, we are all on high alert and we monitor what each other is doing. And so that's why we always see what the other points of view. And there is also misinformation that is used deliberately to mislead at these times. And in fact, I've got here two examples from the UK, from World War II. These are posters about rumors. They're saying exactly what governments are saying nowadays. Don't listen to rumor. Can rumors sway public opinion? Again, this idea is that rumor comes from somewhere. But in fact, if we study rumor, we realize that, okay, there are some actors, like you might have the Russian government or Daesh, who put around rumor on purpose. But most of the rumor actually is produced by the public itself and is shared by the public itself. Why do we have fake news? Because we share it, maybe not us, but most of the people do. Points for you to take away. Fake news, or rumor, however you want to call it, is not only about journalism or bad journalism or propaganda. Of course, they have their role, but most of the rumor actually comes from the public and is something that belongs to the environment of conflict. Also, if you want to reduce fake news, you can't just get media companies to pay fines for spreading fake news, or to get them to control rumor, or you can't just promote media literacy courses. These are some of the solutions that are being aired. The real solution to fake news is to reduce the political polarization. Yeah, if you do media literacy, or if you find media companies, it's like putting a plaster on a cat leg, effectively. And also, is it worth engaging in countering it? Of course, I think governments need to make clear where there are, to rectify false information. But then trying to eradicate a rumor is like really trying to hold back the river. Again, think about the public is actually contributing to this. And okay, and last point of the day, I'm arguing that at times of conflicts, strategic communication changes. Particularly when the stakes in the game are particularly high, the way in which information circulates and the way in which we interpret information actually change. Particularly, an example of very high stake in a conflict is when you feel that your existence is at risk. And I'm not saying you fear for a bomb falling on your head. We are in the Western world, we don't really fear war, but we feel maybe our values, everything we believe in is at stake. Think about, in the US, Trump represents everything that you stand against. So So in these cases of extreme polarization, basically what happens is we all become extremists in other way. We all stick with our tribe. So we end up in a situation that many call post-truth politics, but this is really a misunderstanding of what's happening. They think that facts do not matter in the post-truth politics. It's not that they don't matter, it's just they become details in the grand scheme of things. In other words, if Trump represents everything I stand against, it doesn't really matter whether Hillary Clinton has messed up in Benghazi or what she did with her emails, because still Trump is everything I stand against, so it really doesn't matter anymore. So if we want to represent the level of conflict on that axis and the level of existential threat, for example, at some point there, we don't know exactly where that stands, and the possibility for strategic communication making a difference, well, the closer we get to the existential threat, the lower the possibility of changing the minds of the opponent. Basically because they've already become extremists, they are not listening anymore. So it doesn't mean that strategic communication doesn't have any role at all, because you can still make a difference in terms of either dividing the other side, I don't know, that might be a possibility, it's your job to find out whether this is possible, or consolidating the unity of our side. But yeah, the point is, once conflict becomes extremely polarized, the things that you can do actually change. So, in conclusion, where are we going to in the future? We are going towards increasing polarization and fragmentation. This is not caused by social media or fake news. This is caused by the political polarization, by the fact that we are becoming more and more fragmented. In this context, social media might be an important tool. It's your job, again, to tell whether it's relevant to your audience. But information activities alone are not sufficient. As I was saying, you can't just circulate information. You need to reduce the political polarization. You need political action. You need social action. You need to change how people live. And again, last task for you is to assess where are we on that curve, on that chart. How close is your audience to feeling that they are in a situation of existential threat? Because that changes what you can or cannot do. And I'll leave it there. Thank you very much.